War Eagle Auburn family, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we sit down, we get together, and we talk about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum. We're always heavy on the sports here on this channel, but if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. Thank you for joining us, whether you're watching live or on the replay. We appreciate you hanging out with us just for a few minutes of your very special time just to talk with us about what we love about being an Auburn Tiger. Tonight's live stream is a reaction show, and we are reacting to the Auburn Tigers 15-1. I have the record correctly. On the nation's longest winning streak, seemingly poised to be the #1 overall team in the year so far. That's what's at stake on this night, and that is what Auburn has an opportunity to do. Beating Ole Miss 80-71, an incredible comeback win in Oxford. And I would imagine there were a lot of people that were very happy to witness that in person tonight and very happy to be a part of that. 1,500 replies in 1 minute. My gosh. Okay. By the way, quick little aside here as we get things going. First of all, most of y'all know the drill as you come in, even if it's on the replay, post where you're watching from now, city, state, international, all that good stuff. Post that with a War Eagle. Hit that like button. Let's get this crowd going here. I also know that my audio is a little bit off tonight, so please do stand by with me. I may have to toy with it just a little bit here, try to get it actual onto the other mic. Had some computer malfunctions here that are affecting it a little bit, so we'll do that in just a second. Right now, it's going through the computer actual microphone, but we'll work on it as we get through tonight. Also, I have the headphones on, which means that somebody can call in. It's not going to be open to everyone tonight, but we will allow our Booster Club members. They can call in. That link is over there, over in the Patreon, the Booster Club, if you want to take advantage of that. But really, tonight's just about reacting, talking to you, seeing what you want to talk about this game and how excited we all are for it. We got Blake starting us off, War Eagle from Prattville. Great win tonight. Kevin checking in. Cohen was the one of our new channel members and Booster Club members. Cohen, you will be getting an email update from me very soon here. So just stand by for that, for the Booster Club stuff. He is the one who made me laugh to start off with 1,500 replies in 1 minute. What we're referring to is the toxicity that is Auburn memes going after a post-game score from your opponent that Auburn's doing and just ravaging them, just being absolutely savage with memes toward them. So keep me posted throughout the stream what we're sitting at. But 1,500 replies in 1 minute, that is absolutely outstanding. Walker, yes, what a comeback game for him. What a welcome back game, I would say. Because he had been kind of kept in check, whether that was rightly or wrongly. It did seem to be kind of a little bit, we'll say, a little bit unfair in the way that he was having some things called against him and not against him. All right, we're going to try this audio now. I think I am checked in. Okay, there we go. Please give me a thumbs up. Let me know if the audio sounds good again. It sounds good in my ears, so I think I got it fixed over here on my end. It's a lot better than going through the computer microphone. Okay. How many else were standing on their couch, shirtless, flexing? Rob, I can only imagine what that sight looked like tonight. This is the greatest thing to happen to Auburn since 2010. Now, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer tonight, but I do want to caution everybody to not just assume that they are going to give this to us. And again, this is the show where I tell you that rankings don't matter in the grand scheme of things, especially basketball, but it sure is fun to talk about. So we're going to relish the fact that we have an opportunity to do that. It's not real until they give it to us. Give me the #1. I need it. Angie checking in on Facebook. We got Savage Beast in Nashville, Coleman County, Huntsville. Everybody is checking in here. You guys are awesome. You guys are just about as good as the memes on Twitter and how you respond so quickly to these reaction shows. Honestly, I didn't plan on doing these a lot, but you asked for it. You got it. And so now we're doing them after every single game as long as my schedule allows. Christian says, man, I knew that Ole Miss wasn't going to last long. Well, they scared me enough. I'll tell you that much.
Kevin's ready for that number 1 ranking. Doug says these past 2 games have gained us so much more experience, and this is so special. Think about this too. So you have just been battle tested on the road to very hostile environments, to very good basketball teams, very well coached basketball teams. And I say that with full sincerity about Alabama too. As much as I love to rub it in their face that they've had probably the worst week of any college athletics program. We wrap everything into it for them in quite some time. The fact that you now get to come home and settle there for a little while is going to it's going to be so sweet. Not to say that you need to take anything for granted. Don't assume that we're going to win those games, but got to go out there and take care of business. Rob, given a Kessler stat line here, 20 points, grabbed 10 rebounds, and blocked 7 shots. In fact, I have the stat line pulled up over here. If we want to reference it completely, let me get to the Auburn one here. Walker Kessler tonight, 20 points, 9 for 11, 0 for 1 from three-point land. All his free throws, 10 rebounds, so he gets his double-double, 1 assist, 3 personal fouls. Kept that in check, and he didn't get his first foul called on him until like late in the first half, which was a nice change of pace. I know I'm a little bit behind here, Cohen, but you're doing a great job. 2K replies in 4 minutes. Absolutely outstanding. Oh my goodness. You would rather have the number 2. I agree with that mentality, Rob. I hear you, and I think that would only stick it to us in a way that would drive these guys and us as fans even more. So it'd be almost kind of like I'd relish that, but it'd be nice to pull that off, and it means something to this program. So as much as I'm adamant about rankings don't matter, this one does feel like it's something that needs to happen for the program. It feels like a validation of sorts. Neil's checking in from East Cobb. Neil, you ready for that snow tonight? We're going to be apparently getting up here and tomorrow. I'm not. I mean, I'm excited for it because I love snow, but that's just me digressing there. A lot of people still checking in. Remember, as you do come in, smash that like button if you haven't. It does help the stream out, helps others find it. If you're watching on Facebook, Twitter, you can do the same thing there. Invite people in to be part of the show. Jamari's World, man, I don't even like basketball, but watching Auburn basketball and watching the memes come in after wins has been so much fun. So let me give you guys a little preview about what's coming out tomorrow. I know this is a quick aside. We're going to keep talking about this game, keep reacting to it. Tomorrow, live on the podcast. Well, it'll be here on the YouTube channel, but if you're subscribed to the podcast, we'll have Auburn Memes at Auburn Memes, the guy who's behind that Twitter account, on the show again. This time a more lighthearted conversation. We're going to be talking about what makes a great meme, how this whole Auburn Memes thing got started. Don't miss that podcast tomorrow. It's going to be a great one. I hope you're subscribed if you're not. You can hear it here on YouTube, but I do ask that if you listen to podcasts near the way, Apple Podcasts, go listen to it there. Subscribe there. Leave a review on iTunes. If you can, that does help us out. Imani says, I don't care about being number 1, just want to keep winning and win the national championship. And I think we all agree with that. But, it's kind of one of those boxes you want to check. And I'm fine if we get the number 1 spot and then just either lose and, lose a game and then lose that spot, or they just take it away from us later. I just want to kind of check the box so we can say we did it and then worry about the rest of the season, because I think if it was still hanging out there, it'd almost be like that air that's let out of the balloon later on in the season. But if you go ahead and knock it out now, when you're not even 5 games into SEC play, and just kind of check that off your list for a little while. Cohen says, hoping to see another memes video. You certainly have plenty to pick through. Oh, that's coming tomorrow as well. Listen, I was mapping out the content for this week. It is going to be busy podcasts, videos, live streams, you name it. And who knows what else is going to happen, what other news is going to drop. So just stay tuned. The best thing to do is to stay subscribed here along with that notification bell so you know when we go live or upload something. Kessler is the human tree, rocked out his mind tonight. Here's the great thing about Kessler tonight. He was blocking shots well beyond where he should have. Part of that is his athleticism and his vision and his awareness of when to go for the shot and stuff like that. But this is also Ole Miss trying to shoot over him in three-point land when he's out there guarding you, when he shouldn't be out there. If you've got a guy that big up on you at the 3-point arc, drive the ball in. Look to get the ball inside. They have vacated that area with Walker Kessler, who is, the walking guardian down there. That was not smart decision on their part. We beat a ranked Bama on the road who beat Zaga. Give us number 1. So when we talk about what the game means and if it warrants us being number 1, I plan to do a video. I think is Monday when the rankings come out officially? I think it is. Assuming we got the number 1 and talking through whether we actually deserve to be the number 1 and stuff. Of course, I think we do, but I want to actually talk through reasons why I think it would be. One of those would be, this whole Bama win on the road, beating Zaga. Zaga's probably the only other one that has a case to be number 1 right now. They have 2 losses to decent teams, but it's still 2 losses. Auburn's got 1. So I think Auburn's got this one in the bag. You guys ask and you shall receive. The memes video is coming out tomorrow. I try to post most of the videos, the edited ones I do, about 1 o'clock usually, unless something happens with my schedule. So, like I always say, the easiest way to subscribe with the notification bell so you don't miss it. But if you want to kind of have a anticipating of when those videos come out. Savage Beast. The fact that we came back from this game and almost won it by double digits, basically locked in our number 1 spot. Rankings don't matter. So that's when you start selling yourself, not even just about rankings, but about to the tournament committees and things like that. Whether or not Auburn is as good as they look. You show them this is 2 games in a row against 2 very good opponents where we went into their house, got down by a significant amount, and came roaring back and still faced adversity and still won the game. That's a big selling point for Auburn right now. I now know what a flop is. Yeah, that's it's always been in basketball. The only other sport that sees an excessive amount of flopping is soccer. It's worse than there. But yeah, they've really locked in on that this year, trying to keep people from flopping. Zep Jasper has a tendency to probably put himself in position to have that called on him a lot, the way he likes to play defense and kind of try to get the call, earn the call. So he plays a little bit with fire, but hey, the good always outweighs the bad with Zep in that situation. So I'll take it. All right, keep them coming. What stuck out to you tonight? Whether it's a stat, whether it's a play, whether it's a moment, keep it going. We got a great crowd assembling here. You guys again are awesome and making me want to keep doing these for you post game with the amount of people that are showing up here. Let's see here. This team hasn't had to face much zone yet, so it was a good experience for the boys. They were also confusing us in the first half, getting all those open threes. Not just that. If you noticed, Auburn's their field goal percentage in the game was 50%, but it was 50% of the first half as well, right? So that means that it's a pretty decent percentage overall. But they weren't getting a lot of shot attempts, and they were kind of getting a little stymied at times on offense, the way the defense was playing against Ole Miss. Kermit Davis likes to switch it up a lot. He's a really good coach, and it's not just been him during his time at Ole Miss, when it was Andy Kennedy, when it was before him. Ole Miss has always given Auburn trouble, and I don't know what it is. It's frustrating, but it's just the reality of what it is. Linda, one of our Booster Club members, checking in. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. I agree, Thomas. The record and the tournament is all that matters, but it sure is fun to talk about right now. Let's see. We got a lot of new faces checking in here, guys. Thank you guys so much for being here. We're having trouble streaming to Facebook. Interesting. So sorry, Facebook folks. It says that you guys are having a little bit trouble streaming over there. I don't know why, but we appreciate everybody else who's here right now. It's a little bit interesting. I don't know how to fix it on the fly here. Let's keep going here. Would be the first number 1 ranking ever for Auburn basketball. Great experience for the fans, but like you said, the tourney is all that matters. A lot of people checking in here. You guys are awesome. Okay. Savage Beast says, honestly, I wouldn't be worried if we were losing by 20. So think about this. So every time outside of UConn, Auburn has been down by a major deficit, they have come back and won the game because UConn is their only loss. In that game, they were down worse than this game, roared back, took them to overtime, a second overtime. It wasn't almost a third overtime, I believe it was like just a basket away from a third overtime. So this team, you should never count them out. But it is scary if you're going to give up a lead, you want to do it at home where there's a little bit of momentum on your side. There's having that type of deficit on an away game is not a good thing to do. So I'd like the trend to stop, but hey, I can't argue with the results. If we lose another game, there's a good chance we may not be able to be number one for the remainder of the season because Gonzaga will probably win out. Absolutely. So, and that's kind of what I say when I want us to kind of get this number one, check it off the list, and then be done with it. We accomplished that goal. It's done. Focus on just your game by game after that. Because really, think about it this way. Outside of what else do you want to accomplish? Going undefeated in SEC play, well, that requires focusing game by game. So I would say that this is probably a good thing outside of just morale, the fun nature of it, that it is to get to be number one. But I'd like for it just to kind of be over with. I'd like Auburn basketball to land on the cover of Sports Illustrated again. Well, Jabari Smith has a shot to do that. The way that Bruce Pearl's coaching his team is playing this year, they all have a shot to do that. And they usually do the March Madness cover and have somebody front and center. The last time Auburn had a prominent role on it was when DeMona Bonner, women's basketball, when their amazing time with Nell Fortner, she was prominently on the March Madness cover because they do men's and women's mixed in together. She was like one of the larger people on there. They just posted the score again. Interesting. Did they delete it? And because if they're going to make the mistake of deleting it and having us do it all over again, they're just going to fuel the fire even more. It may not happen as quickly as it did 1,500 replies in, 1 minute, but it'll get up there by simple nature of infuriating the Auburn meme army. We are so diverse and we can play any style. Well, and that comes from just being so deep at every position, whether it's offensive lineman, I must say, if we're not talking football, on offense and on defense. We've got guys you can insert. There's not really a drop off. We talked about a lot of these things, just the nature of no drop off really when players are switched in and out, and bringing a different asset to table is what makes them so deadly. By the way, I know for officially now we are over 100 on YouTube. Those of you that haven't been here before, please do subscribe if you haven't, but also hit that like button. Let's keep getting that number up there. That's a good. We've hit those numbers before, but it's usually like on bigger things like coaching announcements and things like that. To do it on just a regular old live stream like this is pretty awesome. Even though it's misspelled, great game for Wendell. Well, let's look at old Wendell. Let's look at our buddy Green. 14 points, 3 for 8, 2 for 5 from 3 points. 6 for 6 from free throws. If you know me, if you've been here long enough, that is A-okay in my book. I am all about the free throws. If you can make the free throws, you're A-okay in my book. 6 assists and 5 rebounds. What amazes me is how Wendell is always higher up in the rebound category. It shouldn't be really happening a lot, but I'm glad that it is. And he sees 29 minutes of play tonight. So basically, again, he's getting starter minutes even coming off of the bench tonight. He's tied for the third overall leading scorer. Kessler led the way. Jabari Smith with 15. He and Katie Johnson were tied with 14. So great performance by him tonight. Real test next week. Are you talking about Georgia? Poor Georgia. Look, I will always be the first to say we should never take anybody for granted. I do think that we need to take it seriously, but there's a certain aspect of understanding that Georgia is not really good. The story for next week is Katie Johnson's reunion with Georgia on our home court. That is the story next week. More than does Georgia have a legitimate chance at their home arena? Yes, but on Tuesday, I think it is. No, they don't. Or Wednesday, I can't remember what day it is. But yes, the Kentucky game is going to be huge. I know it's already sold out. I wish I could be there, but it is hard to get a ticket these days. And anybody else going to be at the game? You can, raise your hand or just say yes in the chat. Let's see. All right, let's do this right now. Walker set for player of the game for Cohen. If you'd like to write your player of the game right now, just either POTG, whoever, or you could just write a single last name. Who is your player of the game? I feel like it's obvious personally, but I like people who think outside the box, and I like people who have different opinions, want to see what you think about it. I think there's case to be made for some other players as well, as it typically is with a team of this type of makeup. So who is your player of the game? And we'll skip down there in just a second to catch up on those, but trying to stay with some of these comments here. Devin's checking in, one of our Booster Club members. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, excuse me. War Eagle from Texas. Walker Kessler showed up for us in a big way. Way to go, the Auburn crowd. Again, hats off to the traveling Auburn fans. I know most of you are going because you can't even get a ticket to your home events, but the fact that y'all are traveling in droves is incredible. If, I had the ability and the money to just travel to go even like be at Tiger Walk and not even go to the game, I would go just to feel the energy, to experience all that. I think that would be really cool. See what happens when the big guy gets in foul trouble. I mean, he is just an absolute game changer, and he's making things interesting with Jabari, because Jabari just does Jabari things, but Walker Kessler brings a certain element when he's in the game that is hard to match for other teams. They can't account for his blocking. They think they can shoot over him. He blocks it still. His length just gives him an opportunity to get the ball in the basket, even from situations where you think he wouldn't. When he was driving into the lane there late and you thought he was going to draw a charge, just kind of, instead of completing that dunk he was trying to do, just stretched out so he wouldn't run over the guy and just laid the basket in there. Absolutely great. I am correct. All right. Let me see here. Let me skip ahead to y'all's player of the game, because I know we are way, way behind in chat. We'll just probably have to skip forward, as happens when we get really busy here. So if you have a question or comment that you really want to get into the chat, please do post it again, and we'll try our best to get to it. All right. Players of the game. Let's see. Where did you guys? Kessler, Green Jr., WK, Kessler, Walker. Yeah, a lot of that. Here's Clint, owner, operator of the Auburn Uniform Database. Went to Hobby Lobby today, grabbed every single L item and handed it to LSU. And you, Kyle. Thank you, sir. I don't know why you gave me an L. I guess because my last name is Loomis, but there you go. Free throws. So if I was going to make a case for a player of the game outside of Walker Kessler, it would be Wendell Green. And for the free throws alone, especially at the end of the game, kind of ice the game. And lo and behold, look at this beautiful stat right here. Beautiful. For Auburn and Ole Miss. Ole Miss is 15 of 15 from free throw. Proud of them for that, because I can appreciate good free throw making. So hats off to them. Auburn, my mark is 80%. Auburn makes 14 of 16 free throws. That, my friends, is what Auburn won the game. Taking care of business in the small areas is what wins you the game. Look at turnovers. 6 for Auburn, 14 for Ole Miss. That margin right there also is a reason they win the game. Look at the rebounds. Why it was so close. Auburn lost the rebound battle 27-32. They barely lost defensively, but they got in about the same amount in offensively rebounding. Those 3 areas, time and time again, how you perform there's a huge deficit one way or the other. It usually means that you had a rough night. Got to make it competitive. They did defensively. They won the turnover battle. They were competitive with free throws. That's why this team wins the game tonight. All right, we'll keep moving forward here. Twitter count on the reposted tweet is 2,158 in 13 minutes. So here's the problem: is if they did delete the score thing to start off with, I hope some people, everyone who did it on the first one and went to bed, realized that and did it again, because I want to be able to have the full gamut of the memes. And if somebody didn't post a meme, you can try to delete this all you want. We'll keep doing it again. I need that. Unbeaten Lake says, I keep saying that to beat us, you will have to make most of your shots. Ole Miss did it in the first half, but couldn't do it in the second half. Yeah, they really couldn't miss, could they? I will say, while I won't go out on a limb and say that the officiating was worse than the Alabama game, it certainly wasn't great here. And Ole Miss did about everything that they could. If they had removed Walker Kessler from the equation more, they probably win this game, just to be honest with you. The way they played in the first half, having the home court, the crowd into it for them, if they get Walker Kessler out of the game for a significant amount of time, like Alabama did, this is a much different. We're having a very somber post game show here, and not as many of you showing up because you guys are a great crowd. Savage Beast, Kentucky's no joke. The game could be tough at the start, but we are Auburn, so we wouldn't be nervous. It's at home first, so we're good. Yeah, it's Kentucky. Even on their worst, seasons like last year, they're still Kentucky. How about the bench? How about the players off the bench? Zep Jasper played well. Little time he was in. Well, Jasper had 21 points. Yeah, he did see a little bit of a drop off tonight, and I didn't really notice it all that much. Trying to see where maybe the time went away from him. I guess just a Wendell. But Bruce, it's not really a case of Bruce punishing someone, or it's just a situational thing. I think he realized Wendell was really getting him, giving him more in this game than Zep was at the time. Yes, E2C for life. Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate that. Cohen says, I guess you're talking about our comments here. This is not the Auburn mean. Ratio is like 7-1. And that's the beauty of it. And as we grow here on this channel, making our little family within the Auburn family, it will always get tougher to keep up with every single comment and reaction and stuff like that. But we're going to do our best to do that here for you guys. The difference is the bench. The depth of the team is unmatched. What I'm really encouraged about us as Auburn fans is our appreciation for the bench. And, the reason for that is because the bench is earning that praise. Tonight, I think they weren't as productive scoring-wise. 17's pretty good, but Ole Miss got 22 from the bench. So they won that battle, if you want to look at that comparatively. But game in and game out, they show up. They do what they're supposed to do. A lot of that is, in the case of Wendell Green, who, scored 14 of those 17 tonight. Devin Cambridge scored 1. Jalen Williams scored 2, could have scored a few more. But they're contributing more in the fact that they're not producing a drop-off when they come into the game. Maybe they're not scoring as much as the starters are. Some of that is just due to the effect of the amount of time that they play. But there is no drop-off when they come in. I know that I've repeated like that on cycle tonight, but it's the truth of the matter. Imani says, I wish JT Thor would come back. He would have had the biggest front court you can shoot, and it would have been scary. Yes, I hear you, but if JT Thor doesn't come back, or does come back, you may not have room for everybody. So think about it that way. I'm not saying I would want to trade away having JT Thor for another season, but it's hard to argue with the results right now. Can't believe you found the channel through. Well, listen, hey, YouTube is sometimes likes to bury us. We're not one of the bigger Auburn channels out there, so there are a few bigger ones. So that it takes a while sometimes for people to aggregate here and find us. So tell your friends, bring them here, listen to the podcast, follow us on social media. That's the best way to do that. Kay Bayless, thank you for chatting with us tonight. Appreciate you hanging out. Hope you get some rest. Hopefully we'll be number 1 soon. What I love is how loud the crowd has been for these away games. We definitely hear them. Yes. It's one thing to show up. It's another thing to change the game. When we can hear you doing the you on free throws, when we can hear you chant, let's go Auburn, or, whatever, that speaks to how many fans showed up and traveled. And I get, look, Ole Miss is not the furthest distance to travel. What'll be the true test? I don't have the schedule pulled up right now, but I can't remember if we play at Missouri or at Arkansas and Texas A&M. If y'all travel there, I don't have plans to do it right now. Never say never, but if y'all travel there in droves, y'all have won the season regardless. Ole Miss's zone defense has to be the most frustrating in all sports. They would find ways to double team anyone who had the ball. Luckily, we found a way to work it out. And that's what happens a lot. As good as your defense is, adjustments have to come in the second half. And Bruce did that, got our guys in situations to get them out of those double teams and look for the guy that's open, because that's the nature of a double team, right? Somebody's open. You just got to Can't panic. You got to get yourself in position to make a better pass and get yourself out of that situation, because if you get it to that next guy, that means there's going to be a shift over there, leaving the next guy open. And it's usually that second pass from the double team to the initial outlet to the next guy is what really where you can make somebody pay who does that, unless they are just a absolutely solid double team zone type of play team. Thoughts on Jabari not having the killer instinct to just take over the game? We know he can. Is he still too young? Christian, I think he does have the killer instinct. It may not be as prominent as players that are, a little bit older than him, but that comes with time. I can see your point. I've seen it in him. I've seen him take over games. I've seen him take over moments and just put the team on his back. I also think it's just the nature of the beast that you don't have to. What a blessing for Jabari that he can kind of relax and just do Jabari things and just let the team support him. He doesn't have to take over him. Think about it this way. Try to remember the guy's name for Georgia. Anthony Davis. I think it was it Anthony Davis? No, that's the guy from Kentucky. Anthony Edwards, last year, #1 overall pick, I think, for Georgia. Great player on a terrible team. And yeah, you'd see his highlights and how good he was, but they didn't win unless he was just bonkers. And so you have this situation here where you've got the #1 player on this team, likely the #1 team, but he's surrounded with so many great players. He doesn't have to. And that's a great thing if you don't force someone in a situation, especially that is young, that they have to display that killer instinct that's probably there. It'd be nice to see it every once in a while, though, I guess. Now, Cohen, this is a great point. And if we talk about, officiating and stuff like that, this is one of the more frustrating things about this is how do you get out of the half almost without a foul? If it's not for Katie Johnson just going ridiculously bonkers at the end of the half there and drawing like 3 fouls in a row. So I would just say, I don't know that it was bad officiating, but it just, I know I have my orange and blue glasses on, but it just feels a little off. Just a little off. Matt says, I'm old enough to remember Auburn #1 with Chris Porter on the cover of SI. I think I have that one in a box, maybe. I need to display it back there. I was there in person, loved that team, and this team has the same swag, even higher ceiling for this team. So I remember that team as well, even though I was just in my early adolescence. My dad took me to the SEC tournament where we lost Arkansas in the SEC championship game. And it was amazing experience. Saw Chris Porter, Mamadou Njai, Damian Fishbag. I mean, it was a great team. One of the conversations that's going to be fun to have at the end of this season on this channel is we'll do a video. Who's the better team? This one, 2019, Chris Porter's team. Could throw in there as well the 2003 team, I think it was, with Kyle Davis, Marco Killingsworth, Lewis Monroe, a lot of those players that only barely lost to Carmelo Anthony and the Syracuse Orange in the Sweet 16. That was a really good team too. Listen, I appreciate that, WT Gardner. A lot of people don't have the luxury of being a little bit smaller like I am. So they, it's harder for them. And you see it tonight. It's hard for me to respond to everybody. I'm going to try to. And as things get, a little bit bigger here, it's going to get even harder to do so. I know this sounds like a little petty plug here, but if you're in the Booster Club, that's why I have the headphones on tonight. None of the Booster Club members have taken advantage of it tonight, but they have the exclusive call-in link, and so they can call into the show if they'd like. Wednesday nights, anybody can call in. That's when it's fair game. Town Aiden, maybe. Thoughts on what you believe Auburn be ranked come Monday? I don't see a reason why they're not ranked #1. Baylor losing again today. The amount of teams that surrounded them in the top 5, the top 10. I mean, it's got to be Auburn. I mean, is #1. If they do, I'm not shocked because that's just what happens to us. But It's just the nature of the beast that is being an Auburn fan, that we can't just completely have the nice thing for some reason. Yes, Cohen, we are about to hit 2,000 subscribers. It's a huge accomplishment. We got to 1,000 in 6 months, I think is what it was. And so our channel's about a year and a month, maybe something like that. So we've almost done it in about the same amount of time. When we get, I know I've said it a lot here. We're going to get ready to do like a subscriber giveaway thing. I got to figure out how you do all that. I'll give away like a football to get us to 2,500. And then probably after that, we'll do one at 5,000. So all that kind of stuff. Dusty's in the house. What's up, my man? Team showed poise on the road. We in a building we normally struggle in. Yes, 100% agree. Thanks for being here, buddy. Driving in the rain, boss. Well, please be safe. What are you saying nah to, Clint? You're behind in the chat. I'm behind in the chat, so you're saying something. Rob said, Clint, Auburn going with the chrome helmets. Oh, that's a football question. We're not going to worry about that right now, but you guys can talk about it in the chat. Kevlar, I would say that fact alone is not what would be ranked number one. It's what's happening also with the other teams. What Auburn has done in this 2-game stretch is another thing as well. Marquise Daniels on the 03 Sweet 16 had an underrated pro career. Hoops heads now. Yeah, he works obviously as part of the staff there now. Kessler scared to foul in the first half. Only 1 foul for Ole Miss in the first half, but give credit to them for being 100% at the line. Well, they had 2, I believe, if not 3, because of Katie Johnson at the end there. I don't know that Kessler's scared to foul. I think he knows, based on that last game, that because he's been so dominant blocks, that he's getting more attention by the teams on how to draw those fouls, but he's also getting more attention by the ref. It's like, are we not calling enough on him? So it's an adjustment, right? You got to get used to how much scrutiny is now going to be on you by the teams on how they defend against you, and also, or how they attack you, and also how the refs are kind of watching you. And just, it's a learning curve, right? He's exploded onto the scene, takes a little adjustment for everybody else. I don't know that it was him being scared. I don't think you meant like he was scared. Like I could understand kind of what you're getting at there. Everyone spams subscribe. I'm never a fan of spam, but if it gets us our subscribers numbers up, of course, that's always good. Neil says the only team that makes him nervous in the remaining schedule is Kentucky. They're very good despite their record. It's Kentucky. It is what it is. Yes, Savage Beast, you and I on the same wavelength. I said this to someone recently. I would have loved to watch that matchup, because that Baylor team last year was one of the best all around that I've seen. It's really the vibes of what we're seeing with this Auburn team was with them as well. And think about it this way too. They had an Auburn guy with them. They had a former Auburn Tiger there. So just think about that. Can we vicariously claim that? Austin, I got to give you the props here, sir, for doing the super chat. Thank you so much. After a rough football season, it's been fun to watch this team give Bruce all the money in a statue, because he more than deserves it. Those are, and I love when you guys give me these ideas too, because when we get to off season of all sports, it's going to be, tough to have content to come up with. But, those type of things we'll talk about, when should you get a statue? Who deserves a statue? Clint and I, who's been here in the chat, have talked a lot about this. Who deserves to have their jersey retired? Has Bruce done enough thus far to get some type of recognition? Yes. What has he earned thus far? Still a little bit early to tell, but in terms of paying him what he wants to stay, I'm on board for that. If that's all it takes, let's do it. Pony up the cash right now. But thank you for you ponying up the cash and giving me that donation. That was great. Thank you. Oh, yes, I remember this as well, Russell. Jabari gave me a no, yes moment when he shot the ball with 20 seconds left on the shot clock, under a minute. We're awesome, but room for improvement, no doubt. And that's the great thing that I hope you all take away from this team. This is how good this team is right now, but they are not perfect, and they still make some decent sized mistakes at time that can be corrected and occur less. Everybody's going to make mistakes, but how often you make those mistakes and how you respond to them is what happens. The response to these mistakes is what kept Auburn from losing games outside of one this year. We might have to do that. We might. Clint, we've been talking about a episode we need to do, or a video we need to do, and we'll talk about that soon. I've got some schedule plans for you, sir. Too many dudes to defend on this team. It's very difficult to stop. And I agree. A little bit of celebration against more Bama misery today. Just give me all the L's for Alabama and let's just throw them at them. So aside from Jabari, who will we really lose off this team this year? A lot. You will probably see Alan Flanagan put himself in the draft again. Depends on how much he does the rest of the season, whether he'll go or not in terms of get drafted and stay. You'll probably see Kessler put himself in the draft, whether he's got a good chance to go. Trying to think of anybody else. Katie Johnson will probably put himself in the draft, but remember, these guys can come out. There's going to be a lot of players that go test the waters this year, so don't think that this team's coming back complete outside of Jabari. We need bust of Joe Leaves, Sonny Smith, Bruce Pearl as basketball great coaches. I think Cliff Ellis has got a case for that as well. He's not as, I'd put him on the same level, and I'm kind of just speaking off the cuff here, so this may not be true. It's kind of comparative to Tommy Tuberville. Great time, the way he had here in SEC championship and all that, but I think he deserves some recognition as well. Say it loud and say it proud, Carter. It's great to be an Auburn Tiger. All right, let me skip a little bit ahead here. 115, only 55 likes. Hey, I'm just glad y'all are here. But you guys patrol and remind people to like. Thank you guys for doing that. Saul Flanagan giving, and I guess you mean Allen, Bruce Pearl some lip. Looks like the kid still needs work on that attitude. I wouldn't go so far, Murph, to say that, but you may have had I don't remember seeing this, so you may have had obviously a better vantage point to speak on this. But sometimes there's a certain amount of allowance that coaches and players have amongst you to kind of not necessarily talk back. So without seeing the exchange, I'm going to defer to your judgment on that. But, if that did happen, let's look at his playing time here. 30 minutes is some of the most that's out there. So obviously that lip didn't affect too much of his playing time. But we'll find out what happens in practice and the coming weeks. Autumn, we are not ranked first yet, but we should be. We have a very strong possibility of that, and the rankings come out Monday. There we go. All right. Oh, and Linda says she saw it too. So there you go. So that's two people that have seen that. Anybody else see that? Anybody else having opinions on Alan Flanagan having a little bit of an exchange with Bruce Pearl? Sometimes it comes out that, players come over saying, I didn't do something. This is what and it's more they're reacting to the situation and trying to defend themselves than arguing with the coach. It doesn't really make that right, but I'm just kind of trying to play devil's advocate here. All right, we're not done just yet, but we have a great crowd here. I want to remind you guys of a couple things before it gets too late and we get out of here, but we'll get towards the end comments and questions, so keep that coming. If you haven't, please check out the links in the description. Those are ways that you can help support our content here. Some of those being a channel member here. We've got many of you that we've given shout outs already. You'll see icons next to their name, and those grow over time. And those are the people that also, they kind of get their little emojis they can use here. That's what you get being a channel membership program member. $1 a month. If you want to take it a step further and either do that or both of these things, there's the E2C Network Booster Club on Patreon. Starts at $1 a month and goes up. You get different things at each tier. But those are the two main things you can do. You can do super chats here. You can go to our TeePublic store, buy a t-shirt. You can do PayPal, anything you'd like to do to help support. But the easiest thing is just to be here, smash the like button, show up, watch the videos, drop a comment. That's how you help us the most. And we appreciate you guys doing that tonight. Schedule for the week. And we'll wrap up this stuff and get back to your comments here in a second. I see a lot of them coming in. Videos probably all this week, coming out around 1 o'clock each day. Hopefully Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, maybe Thursday. We'll see. Live stream on Wednesday night, and that's at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Anybody can call in. Hope you're here for that as well. And then podcasts throughout the week as well. They'll be posted here, but subscribe on Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff if you haven't. All right, we'll get into some kind of last minute comments and questions. Not going anywhere just yet, but let's see what everybody else is saying here. Do you think Gonzaga will be ahead of us? They have the best case to do so, but they lost tonight, right? Yeah. No. They've only got 2 losses. They have the best case to be ahead of us. If we were to lose a game or somehow just lose the number 1 ranking, they would be the one that probably jump ahead of us because they don't have much challenge where they are. Was it when talking about, I guess, the Alan Flanagan, Bruce Pearl exchange, was it when he traveled? It could have been. I didn't see it. I feel Alan's reaction was more of just him disagreeing with the calls on the court. And here's Plainsman Murph saw Coach Bruce Pearl talking to him coming out of timeout. It looked as if they resolved whatever the problem happened to be. It's a very heat of the moment situation. If you remember this during the football season, everybody made so much about who was it at the Seth Williams and Bo getting into it. It's the heat of the moment. It happens sometimes, and so usually somebody's wrong, and you work it out, and you go on and move on from it. So I think Allen's been here long enough that even if it was a legitimate tiff, if you want to call it that, between them in the moment, there's enough of a relationship there that they understand that it's not personal, and there was disrespect really wasn't intended. And even if it was disrespectful, it'll be handled because they're grown men. Well, Bruce is a grown man, and Allen's getting there, and his father is there. So I think he's going to probably be on his best behavior. When a team is shooting as good as Ole Miss was in the first half, it's hard to guard that. What was nice was seeing how the team settled and responded, champion level performance. And that's what you do, right? When you face adversity, it's not about the problems themselves. It's about how you respond to them. That's what really does it. That's what really shows what type of team that you are. Kyle gets many L's for completely missing some of these jokes. It's hard, man, when we got a great crowd like this here to keep up with everybody's jokes and things like that. Savage B says you can't really coach against the team that just hits every single shot. The best you really do is just try not to leave them wide open. Yeah, you can coach against it a little bit, but if a team is just on it, that it is very difficult to coach it. Brody, I do think we have a shot at it. That's all I'm willing to say right now. As far as I'm willing to go is that making anything less than the Elite 8 is a disappointment. And that's me stepping out a little bit. And I love predictions. Clint will tell you that. I see enough of this team that I think there's some things could rear their ugly heads at the wrong time that I don't want to step out and say we are winning the national championship. Can we compete for it? Yes. Are we one of the best teams, if not the best team in the nation at this point? Yes. But that's right now. Let's see what it looks like. Knock on wood, injuries are going to happen. Things are going to change. So we'll keep it in perspective for right now. I don't even know. I don't know enough about basketball yet to talk much in here. Hey, it doesn't matter. As long as you're here talking, that's all that matters. Lil Price, good to see you. Clint does hate predictions. Minds of Conflict says Auburn wins the national championship. He is braver than me, but hey, I'll take it. I love the optimism. And Carter says that as well. We don't want to jinx ourselves. I agree with that. All right. Well, I think that's going to round out our show for tonight, guys. Thank you so much. Hope to see you later this week on our Wednesday night live stream. I forgot to say, we'll be going live after the game this week. So don't miss that. It'll go, I usually set it for about 15 minutes after the game is supposed to end, but we will hit live as soon as I can after the game is over. So we'll be playing Georgia this week at home. So you don't want to miss that. So be here if you can. That is on Wednesday at 9 p.m. So it'll be another late night stream. Hope you all can be here. On the way out, smash that like button. Tell a friend to be here. Quick question by Dusty I will address since we're talking schedule stuff. We're not doing Monday night streams right now at the moment because it was more by necessity to get everything in we need to for football. But never say never. As you've probably learned, Dusty, you've been here long enough to know that I kind of change things as it kind of works. We weren't doing these post-game shows, but as you can see, everybody demanded it because you are the best little family within the Auburn family. So stay tuned, stay subscribed, stay ready. Hopefully we're number one when we talk again. Till then.